Today I'm going to do a review about the Freestyle Libre 3 glucose monitor. I've been trying to use this for about a month now, and I have issues. Might as well just say it that way. I did a search on YouTube, seeing what other people might have said. Some people were doing tutorials, some said that they were doing reviews, but it sounded more like they were trying to sell it to everybody else, talking about how brilliant this is. But then I went on Google and I did my own search, wondering how people were talking about it online. And there's a whole bunch of people who don't like it. Supposedly they like the Freestyle Libre 2, which was obviously the older version of this same thing. But even with that one, they would have issues. So let's talk about this. Here's the thing. I mentioned it that I was using it when I did the last video talking about, going ahead and allowing my endocrinologist to talk me into trying this thing, and mentioning how early on the numbers weren't matching up. And I was told that there could be a difference of 40 milligrams too high or too low that separates what this thing is telling you, and if you're using the strips, what that's telling you. So just to get that out of the way, I'm not going to be talking about that, but I mentioned that in the previous video. So I was able to get it into the arm, and I started with the right arm. By the way, that's what the sensor looks like. I'll be coming back to that. So the first one, it's supposed to last 14 days. On day 11, the reader decides that it can't find the sensor anymore. I haven't done anything different. It's still in my arm. It says, check it, push it in, make sure everything is looking well or doing well. And I did that. I rehooked it up. It wasn't having it. Just wasn't having it. They gave me 2 at the beginning. So I said, okay, this works out well. I'm only 3 days away from, having to change it anyway. I'll open up the new one. This is the thing that you get. Comes in this box. Hold it slower. Here we are. So it comes in this box here, talking about the Libre, whatever. It comes with this little contraption here. It can be really hard to open it up the first time, but you get this thing here, and you've got this in it, but this is all the way out. And the little sensor is right in that little circle, which is kind of hard to see, but it's in a little circle. And what you have to do is you have to get it in a spot on your arm, and you basically have to shove it real quick so that the little sticker that's on it, because it's got this thing, you think it's metal, but it's just plastic of some kind, but it goes into your arm so that it can read whatever it's reading. And so I know how to do it because I did it the first time. I had watched the video beforehand showing me how this guy did it, and I'm thinking, okay, it can't be that nonchalant, whatever. I felt it. I have felt it every time I've had to use one of these things. But it's quick. Then it goes away real fast. So anyhow, I get the second one, and I try to get that sensor in there. It's on the arm. You're not supposed to use the same arm, twice in a row. So if you pull it out of the right arm, which I had to do the first time, now I'm supposed to use the left arm. So I do that. I get my reader. I sync it with the sensor, thinking all is good because it says, yep, we found it. We will start working in 60 minutes. This is my terminology. That's not exactly what it says. Y'all know that. Anyhow, it took about maybe 15 minutes before I heard this alarm coming from the reader saying, we can't find the sensor. I'm thinking, well, you found it when I initially did it. Let me try it again. So I do the process again. I do the process 5 or 6 times. Each time it can find it, and then within 15-20 minutes, it's bad. It ain't working anymore. I'm irked because that's the second one. Now, like I said, it's supposed to last for 14 days. I can't call up the pharmacy and say, hey, this one isn't working. I need another one. I could, but they're not, you've got to at least have some kind of reason. So I look it up and I call customer service. So I'm talking to this guy in customer service, And, you know, he asked me all kind of questions. I had to look up all kind of stuff, whatever. I gave him a number. You know, supposedly there's an error message that I can find that I gave it to him. And then he says, okay, we're going to send you another one. And you'll have it in 3 to 5 days. And there it was. So I was like, okay, good. They're going to send me another one. Didn't expect it, but there we go. I'm happy I'm getting another one. So I get another one. It basically takes like 3 days. So I got it on the early part. I waited until the next morning to put it in. So I open up the box and there's another box in it. They want me to send them the bad one. And the guy had told me on the phone, please don't throw that away because we'd like to, you know, check it out. Okay. So I go through that process. I put it in a different box, you know, seal it all up because it's medical equipment after all. And I, you know, get it set. It has to go FedEx, but that's going to happen after I get it in my arm. So I get the other one. I decide, well, you know what? I really didn't have it in the left arm all that often or all that long. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in there. So what you're supposed to do, and I did it, you're supposed to wash the area first. Wait for it to dry. Wait for it to dry. Wait for it to dry. Then get an alcohol swab. Wipe that on there. Wait for that to dry. And then put it in there. I did that. It synced. I'm thinking, okay, this is good. We're going to be good. It was good for 4 days. 4 days. And then it quit. Like, oh, goodness, come on. Now, this time I go to the pharmacy because now I have reached the time period where I can go ahead and call in a next prescription. So I get the prescription. They give me 2 more sensors. You don't get another one of these, but you definitely get more of these. So I put it in again, back in the left arm. I probably should have done the right arm, but it's like, no, I haven't really had it in there all that much. So I get it in the left arm. And it lasted for 14 days. Yes, I figured it out. We're going to be good. It tells you, you get the countdown. First it tells you, okay, in 3 days, you're going to have to change it. In 2 days, you're going to have to change it. In 1 day, you're going to have to change it. And then you get the countdown. 3 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour, and then it starts counting the time. So when it's time, just before time, I pull it out of my arm and I'm now ready to put the new one in the right arm. I put the new one in the right arm. About 15 minutes later, it ain't working. I get the sensor thing. It's like, oh, come on. I do it 4 or 5 times. Every single time it stops within 15 to 20 minutes. Now I'm irked again. So I decide I'm going to use the other one because why not? They gave me 2. I'm going to put the other one in. So I put the other one in and I tried to use it. And this one stops after 8.5 minutes. I'm thinking, oh, come on. What is with this? So now I'm mad. I call customer service again. And I said, you know, this thing isn't working with me. I just got one, through one that actually lasted 14 days. But now I'm having trouble getting this other one to work. It's just not going there. I've gone through 2 of these already. So the guy says eventually, okay, we're going to send you a new one. 3 to 5 days. This time it took 5 days. I'm good with that. Like I said, I've got the strips. I can handle this. I did get a question, which is, are you using the reader or are you connected to your phone? I said, nope, I'm using the reader. Now, in one of their tutorials, they recommend that you use the phone. I thought about it. Not the first time, but later on I said, well, maybe the phone would work better. And then I decided, nah, I'm not using the phone. Why? Because it's got this setting that you have to turn on your phone. It's called the NFC and contactless payments thing. In essence, And okay, I'm older, so I don't necessarily trust a whole lot of technology things when it comes to being open, being able to be searched, all this other kind of stuff. NFC basically allows people to use their phone to make payments. So if you go somewhere and you need to scan something and you want to pay for it, you pull out your phone and you can swipe that over there. I don't do that. That's just not happening. Now, with the Freestyle Libre 3, you have to turn that on. Even if you're not using it to make any kind of payments, you're certainly not making any payments to the Freestyle people, but the only way you can use your phone is you have to turn that on. I decided, nah, that ain't happening. I'm just not doing it. That's why I used the reader. The first time, the guy was really shocked. This time, when the guy asked me, I said, no, I'm not using that. That's why I'm using the reader. So he was good with it. So, like I said, 5 days. I got it yesterday. I decided I was going to wait till today, put it in there. Like I said, I pulled the other one out of the right arm. I'm going to put it in the left arm. What's interesting is that because it lasted, for a while the first time around, I can still see the mark from the last time when it stayed there 14 days. So I'm putting it in pretty close to the same area because that's when I got 14 days out of it. And it lasted 8 minutes. And then I started wondering, I know we did a test with the reader because the guy had me go through the test. It said it passed. It said it passed everything. But I wanted to see for myself. So I tried it 5 more times. And I timed it. And every single time it stopped working between 8 minutes and 40 seconds and 8 minutes and 50 seconds. I'm sorry. If that's not the reader, how can that be the same with other sensors that it's always 8 minutes and change? I don't understand that. So here I am now. This one's not working. I can't go to the pharmacy to get another one already because basically I'm 2 weeks away from being able to get 2 newer sensors. I have a prescription for 5 different times when I can go there to get it. So I don't want to do it that early. As a matter of fact, they don't have to give it to me early. I don't even want to bother with that. So tomorrow, I'm going to call them again. But here's my thing. The review, basically, I'm not impressed. I don't want to keep running through these sensors all the time. If it at least worked, I could deal with the little, how it doesn't seem to match up with the strips. I can deal with that. I even had a conversation on the phone with one of the nurses who works with the endocrinologist, and she was telling me, don't let those things, really bother you. You can check using your strips to see what that says you are. And basically, since you've always had this way of feeling when you have lows, which I do, he said, you're probably going to be pretty good. Even if it reads at 270, which it did that a few times, she said, most probably you've just ate something within a certain period of time. And that's all you're going to have to worry about. If it doesn't come down, maybe that's something different. But probably it's going to come down because you're taking your medication properly. Because I do still have my medication. This is irksome. I am going to call the company. I'm going to tell them what happened with this sensor. This is the same issue that everyone is talking about on forums, online, and how they're mad at it. I'm really surprised I haven't seen a lot of people who have complained about it with their reviews. So, either it's all just me, but it's not, or others are just doing it because maybe they have affiliate programs or anything. I don't have any of that kind of stuff. So, I'm going to tell you, this thing is a bomb for me. If it wasn't for the fact that I've gotten the replacements and it hasn't cost me any money to get the replacements, then I probably would have stopped after the first time. You know, the thing is that this thing, it's $73 the first time. And then because I have good insurance, I don't have to pay a whole bunch when I go and pick up the new prescription. But I would have had to pay that full shot. And, you know, I'm thinking that I would not have wanted to pay $73 a month for that. It might just be for this. Maybe it's a one-time fee. I haven't seen anyone actually mention that, but they've talked about, I paid $73 and this thing isn't working properly. That I understand. So that's where I'm at. I mean, you know, they send you all this stuff when you first get it. I mean, you can't really see it there. 1, 2, see how many of these? I got tons of these things here. Even little ones. I've got all this paperwork. I should have thrown it all away, but I didn't because that's just how I am. I'm going to tell you, be wary about this. It's going to cost you a little bit of money. And you know what? Maybe you'll be good. But I don't know. I've sent a message to the endocrinologist's office saying this thing doesn't seem to be working for me. You had another one. Do you want to try that? Or should I just go back to the strips from this point on? I hate when stuff doesn't work. Stuff that's supposed to make your life easier. Where you don't have to worry about, you know, pricking your hand or finger, or whichever one you use, and having to test it all the time. Having to buy the strips. But you know what? The strips are only $7.95 for 50. So I don't really have a big gripe about it. I'm done. Y'all let me know what you think. And, you know, if you've used it, tell me. Tell everyone else what you think about it. My name is Mitch Mitchell. Me and my Syracuse group, me and my Peanuts crew, we're out of here.